Hello and welcome to the 8-week group program. I want to kick us off here with a little presentation to kind of give you an idea of what to expect throughout our 8 weeks together. I am so glad that you're here and I want to be respectful of your time. So I'm going to dive right in and share my screen with you. All right, so welcome to our 8-week group program. I am very, very excited that you are here with me, and I can't wait to kick this off. Over the next 8 weeks, you are going to build your best body yet while losing fat, gaining strength, and feeling your best. And remember, gaining control of your relationship with food and your relationship with your body is the only way to overcome the ongoing struggle with fat loss and long-term sustainable health. So we have a strong focus on building healthy nutrition and habits throughout our 8 weeks together so that you can accomplish these goals. All right, so let's talk about the real secret, right? Part of what makes changing our eating style difficult is the lack of instant gratification. At least when you're working out, you can get a session done and you instantly feel better. When it comes to eating well, it takes more than that, right? It takes a lot of healthy decisions strung together to start to really notice a difference. And, we already know that crash diets are not the answer because if they did work for you, you probably wouldn't be here. So we're here to play the long game and we're here to build healthy habits week over week. I like to say in this program, we start slow and finish fast because at first it's going to seem like we aren't doing enough of the things that we think we should be doing. And then these habits will slowly build together and layer together to create some really powerful changes. So if we change 2 things each week over the next 8 weeks, you will have created 16 major changes to your lifestyle in that time frame. 16 major changes in 8 weeks is a huge accomplishment. It's actually quite a lot. So, when we think about what's held you back in the past and, strict diets or your inability to be consistent with those strict diets because they're so difficult to follow, not being able to prepare or not knowing how to execute those plans, or maybe not recognizing like what is the most important thing to focus on in order to get the results that we're looking for. And so this is your solution, right? Making long-term changes by building up those healthy habits week over week. So let's talk about how we're going to do that. We have 3 non-negotiables for fat loss. And really, these are true with any types of changes that you're trying to make, but we're going to look at it through the lens of fat loss because that is one of the focuses of this program. So the first thing at the bottom of the pyramid here is consistency. And we are in touch daily because I want to give you the support that you need to practice these habits consistently. If you can check off your habits and training for only 80% of the time during this program, you will see results. Consistency is going to set us free from the belief that you need a new diet or a new workout plan or that you're, genetically broken. What we really just need consistency. And hopefully that's really good news because that means that you just need something that you can keep doing day in and day out, without it taking over your life, without it being this really huge mountain that you have to climb of making changes. The next layer on our pyramid is education. So, I'll send you little tidbits of information each day, daily lessons that are going to help educate you on why we're doing these habits, as well as what to do. And education will let you build a framework that works for you because, that way you can make decisions on the fly about what's right for your body, whether it be nutrition related or training related. We don't want to have any more scroll overwhelm where you're scrolling through Instagram and you're like, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. You don't want to get pulled off track by the gimmicks and the things that we see in social media. And that's where education is a huge, huge factor. And at the top of the pyramid, we have experience. So experience is all about action. Action overcomes anxiety, and it's also about trial and error. So many of us will fail diets or exercise plans because we're trying to shove our full round lives into like a square peg, a square hole, right? And most diets are restrictive and complicated and overwhelming, but experience is this thing that you can't buy. You have to just put the time in. You have to just try. And the beauty of that is the more that you do and practice and take action, it also means that experience helps to make everything a little easier and make it a little bit less stressful. You don't have to worry as much because the more you understand it and the more you see success, the less overwhelming it is going to become. So we take a learn to fish while eating the fish approach here, right? You're going to learn how to fish for yourself, but while you're learning, I want to give you the fish so that you can start to take action and see success right away. So while we go through this, you need to be able to get the stuff done in the moment. And you're going to get a few things from me every single day to help you see success. So here's what you're getting from me. Every morning, you're getting an email. That email is going to have a reminder of the habit that we're focusing on this week. You're going to have your daily schedule, including any guides or information that might be on the schedule for that day, your daily lesson, anything that's in the schedule on the app is going to show up in that morning email for you. We'll also go through any of the daily lessons or coaching and information that you need that will help to continue that education above and beyond just what you're supposed to be doing and working on. And then also you'll have daily check-ins for your training goals or your nutrition goals. So you can check off your habit and you can keep track of your consistency and really feel that gratification of like, yeah, I'm doing a good job. I'm on track and I know it because I'm able to see it right here in front of me. The notifications in the app that you get will be reminders for different actions that we're trying to take and help to just give you a nudge in the right direction, since it can be so easy to forget some of these things once we get into kind of the hustle and bustle of our daily lives. So make sure once you've downloaded the app, you have allowed notifications to come up on your phone, because these are going to help you just stay consistent and stay on track. Now we're going to talk about weekly what you're going to get from me. So every week we have a process-oriented nutrition habit with accompanying lessons. So talking about our nutrition right from the get-go of this welcome video, that's really a huge player, and particularly for women, it makes such a big difference. So we're really dialing into our nutrition here. You're going to have 2 to 5 days of scheduled training sessions as well, and that's depending on your starting point. We have a couple different workout tracks depending on where you're starting at for what you can follow and what your schedule looks like, so that it's doable and realistic. Because really, when it comes to training especially, it is not one size fits all. It really depends on your training history and where your starting point is. Every week, you're going to have lesson guides that you need for success, including things like recipe ideas and food lists, so that we can make it a little bit easier for you to take action and go. And then you're also going to have the midweek coaching call with me, which will be in this format. It will be live, and it really helps to do this in the middle of the week because it gives you at least a couple days to think about your habit, practice it, see if you run into any roadblocks, see if you have any questions coming up, so that then you can ask me about those. And that's when you can submit your questions before the call. If you aren't able to make it live, they will be recorded and published for you. And if you are able to make it live, awesome. You can jump on, you can ask me your questions live, and we can problem solve together. So we're going to talk about the daily lessons again within each week. And each week we'll start with the same 3 lessons, the same 3 kind of lessons in a format. So lesson 1 is going to be our weekly habit, and it's going to tell you what you're doing. Lesson 2, we're working on removing the stumbling blocks and kind of streamlining that process a little bit. And then lesson 3 is going to be all about the why. Why does this matter? Why is this important for our progress? There will be additional lessons on different weeks with more information for you, but that's going to hone in on more detailed topics and specifics for that habit, as well as some mindset management, because that can also be a really big player here too. So like I was saying, lesson 1 is telling you what to do so that you can check off that habit. It's going to include kind of your easy button answer to the habit, maybe simple recipe ideas or things that you can fall back on if you're like, Ashley, you just got to tell me what to do. I just need to know what to do so I can do it and move on. Lesson 2 is going to be about those stumbling blocks. So we're looking at common pitfalls or common mistakes and going over common ways that you can implement the 3 S's, are structure, systems, and scheduling, so that you can take action and actually make that information a part of your life. And lesson 3 is going to get into the why behind our habit. It's going to talk about how is this habit furthering our progress? What does mastering this habit actually do for our bodies and our minds? Like, what are the benefits here? Additional lessons and other lessons during the week are going to hone in on those specific topics. And these things might be things like talking about protein powders or fiber intake or different supplements, and these little things that might not be, really applicable to every habit, but they're definitely a part of the discussion for certain things. And then we'll have our mindset matters and those lessons throughout the program. You want to stay on top of your mindset because it's really difficult to create change. And we want to make sure we're in the right place mentally to be able to do this, because I can promise you, having worked with so many women, that you're going to have a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What if this doesn't work? What's happening? I don't know what's going on. What if I fail? And this is totally normal. And it's my job to prepare you for the normal stages of change and that kind of mental roller coaster that goes along with it. And that's why it's such a big part of the program as well. You need to have that part of this. So let's talk about how to become a success story, right? Number 1, success habits it's the answer. Habits are what it's all about. So we want to build habits in a reasonable time frame. If we try to do it too fast, we're probably going to be less successful. It's going to be more difficult. If we try to do it too slow, we're just not going to see a lot of results. We're not going to see a lot of progress. Instead of doing what so many of us do and spreading our energy across multiple focuses each week, I want you to put all of that energy into mastering 1 or 2 goals and 1 or 2 habits. And, I like to say, like, the jack of all trades, master of none is a saying for a reason. If we try to do everything at once, we're probably not going to do any of it well. So I want you to focus on doing the 1 or 2 things to the best of your ability. All right. And then practice those habits with 80% consistency or higher. We want you to let go of the expectation of perfection and fall in love with the process, because this is about changing your lifestyle and doing this long term. And we're not going to be able to keep up with things if we don't enjoy it, if we don't love that process. Number 2, expect to be uncomfortable with change. We are wired to shy away from changes, and change by definition is uncomfortable. And so my job is to make those changes simple and doable. You're still going to have to actually make the change. You're still going to have to take some action, and that's still going to be uncomfortable. But I want to make that as easy for you to do as possible, as simple for you to do as possible. So remember, you're going to get back what you put into this program. Also, don't believe that voice inside your head that tells you you can't. It's fear. It's not reality. But don't be surprised when you don't feel super motivated, or you worry, oh my gosh, nothing's happening, it's not working, or you're just kind of over it and you want to move on to the next thing. Like, this is totally normal. But skipping and moving on to the next thing is not the answer, right? Stay consistent. It will be worth it. Number 3, be scientific. This is one of the less popular pieces of being a success story. But here's the thing. I have never had a client think that they were losing fat too quickly. Nobody has ever been disappointed that things are happening so fast, right? We all think that nothing's changed, particularly in the beginning of the process. And if you can't prove to yourself that you have in fact made progress, you're way more likely to quit. It's just human nature. We want to give you information so that you can know, and you look down at your check-ins and your consistency and you know that you're actually creating positive change, right? And this is why it's so very important to have baseline measurements and pictures and weight and things like this to fall back on. We don't want to do any guessing in this program. You deserve to know if you're making progress or not. And shying away from that because it's uncomfortable robs you of that. If things are going great, we want to know that so that you can stick with it. We don't have to try to add in a bunch of other stuff or change the plan. But if things aren't progressing as you'd like, we want to know that as well so that you can pivot and you can make some changes and adjust course. And the only way we can know is if we have evidence of what's going on and what's happening in our body. Number 4, how to be a success story, take ownership. So you're here, you have made a commitment to yourself. I will give you everything that I can to support you and to make it simple and guide you to success. But I can't eat for you and I can't work out for you. So your action is what's going to make the dream a reality. All right, I like to talk about the internal versus external locus of control. The external locus of control is the belief that your successes or failure come from external reasons, right? Other stuff that's outside of your control. And that's like kind of a bummer because that means that whether you fail or succeed, not only do you not have control over it, but you can't really take credit for it. The internal locus of control, thinking we are in charge, is the belief that your successes or failures are due to circumstances within your control, like preparations or consistency. And a great example of this is like a student at school, right? A student that maybe fails a test and they blame the teacher rather than taking credit for their own lack of preparation. Well, maybe I should have studied more. Maybe I should have done this. And oftentimes there are lots of different pieces, moving parts, kind of pushing into the outcome that we're after. But being able to take ownership and take control is going to put you in a way better headspace and really help you to be proactive and figuring out what works for you. It's a powerful belief system. It puts you in the driver's seat. You have the power to control your outcomes. So set realistic expectations, because unrealistic expectations create an opportunity to be disappointed. If you have an unrealistic expectation going into it, you're literally creating your own failure, right? If you want to look like Giselle in 8 weeks, like that's probably not going to happen. And that's okay, because that's impossible. But if that's what you expect going into it, you're setting yourself up for disappointment and failure rather than being excited about all of the things that you can do in that time frame. All right. And number 5, ask for help. So I'm here to support you. My assistant, Maddie, is here to support you, and other women in this program. We are all here to support each other. So here are the ways to ask for help. 1, you can post a question or your struggle in the Facebook group. If you have it and you have a question or you have something you're dealing with, somebody else is probably dealing with it too. If you are not a part of the Facebook group, that's not your thing, totally cool. You can email your question or struggle to me, and then I can answer that question in our group coaching calls and go over that for you there. Or you can bring that question or struggle to the coaching call live, and you can actually have a discussion with me about it. All of those things work, and it's whatever your personal preference is. So now that you know a little bit more about what to expect, how to succeed in this program, and how we're going to do all of this together, I hope this has been so helpful. Remember, I'm here for you. Maddie's here for you. Send me an email, send me a message if you need something. I cannot wait to get started. I hope you're as excited as I am. It has been so much work and so much love that I have put into this program for you, but it is so worth it because we're going to have a great time and we're going to create some awesome, awesome results. So I'll see you inside.